Okay, hello and welcome to a test drive of the Model 3 Performance. First time, well, obviously I didn't start in this pub car park, but we've just picked this up from the dealership just around the corner. Driven half a mile up here to set the camera up, and these are going to be my first impressions of driving this car. So obviously, well, not obviously if you've never seen this channel before, but I'm in the lucky position where I get to drive lots and lots and lots of different vehicles every single day through my work, so I tend to be able to understand cars quite quickly when driving them. But a Model 3 is something that I've never driven. I've driven a Model X before, but that's the only Tesla I've ever driven before. It'd be interesting to compare this to something like the Porsche Taycan, even though it's double the price. Test driving for the purposes of actually wanting one. I've wanted a Model 3 for quite a long time, wanted an electric car for quite a long time, even though I've had things like R8s and 911s and Range Rovers, blah blah blah. I've always had a soft spot for Tesla and the electric future. Actually working on something behind the scenes on some electric business as well, so that's something that you might hear about in the near future too. Anyway, enough about me, let's see about the car. So obviously everything's controlled by this enormous touchscreen. I think it's about 16 inches touchscreen in the middle. But everything else, there's no dial in front of you, it's all just totally flat. A wood, I don't know if that is wood or if it's plasticky wood, and a leatherette, vegan leather, as is the way with most modern cars now, with the exception of people like Bentley, Aston Martin and Range Rover, the real high-end manufacturers. People are putting vegan leather in their cars now, and why wouldn't they? Because to be honest, it feels just as good, it looks just as good, and it's better for the environment, so it makes sense to do that. It's probably cheaper too, which should in theory bring down the price of the car. So just to show you what I'm in here, what different modes I'm in, hopefully you can see. I'm also driving around a town where I've never been in my life. This is Winchester in the south of England. Looks nice. So driving modes then. Who's that? We've got an ambulance. Is he coming our way? Is he not coming our way? Is this even a road that I can drive down? I don't know. He's gone another way. So just to give you an idea, this is the performance model. As I said, we are in regen standard, we're in comfort steering mode and sport acceleration mode. That's strange, that person didn't seem to look, because they probably couldn't hear that there was a car here, because it is whisper quiet. You can probably not tell on the video, but it's pouring with rain here today, so the only real sound that we can hear is the rain hitting the windscreen. And there's a lot of glass as well. If I look up, I can't really look up because I'm driving, but above me there's just one great big pane of glass. Where am I? That's the question. We are lost. We're driving into a car park, but as always with my reviews, it's totally unplanned, and you can see how. What I will say, so far I've noticed that the regen on standard is really quite severe. It's really like you've put the brakes on. If you put it on low, let's see how we get on low. Like at slow speeds, that definitely rolls a bit better. Stopping mode, what's this? Race track mode. That's probably for a different day, not in the pouring rain in a town. Stopping mode, for some reason I can't. Do I have to put it on standard? No, don't know why that doesn't work. That that other hand is my girlfriend's hand. She doesn't want to be on the camera, but if she just put her hand, put her hand in the shot. If you're wondering, I don't have 3 arms. Oh, cheers. So, yeah, it's a shame that it's pouring with rain today, because I would love to get a test of the acceleration, because when I test drove the Porsche Taycan, that was like scary acceleration, really quite savage acceleration, to the point where you actually feel quite sick. The book figures, not that I like to go off book figures on anything really, because they're often inaccurate, and who really cares if your car does 0 to 60 in 0.5 of a second quicker than someone else's, because in the real world it makes no difference. But yeah, the book figures of the 2 cars look fairly comparable, so I'd imagine it probably feels the same. I want to try and find a bit of space. Can I put my foot down here ever so slightly? Probably not. I'll wait until that child goes past. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! That's quick, isn't it? That is quick. I might have to blow the speedo out on that bit. So, actually, interestingly, well, probably not very interestingly, that car in front is the car that I'm driving at the moment. Well, not that actual car, but that same car. And I bought that because we've just bought a house and we wanted a car that can work as a van whilst doing it up and putting stuff in the back, and also thinking of getting a dog as well, which actually we need to work out. Can we get a dog in this car? It has dog mode. Can you find dog mode again? It has dog mode somewhere in the settings, so obviously they are, you know, aware that people are going to put dogs in this. No, that's sound. Karaoke. Oh, it's actually spelt karaoke as well.
That's how you spell karaoke.
Is it? I thought you spelled it with a K.
Maybe not.
Oh. Spotify. You can do your phone, blah blah blah, if you had it connected. Radio. What's that? Profile driver. What's the T? Tesla. There you go. So that's what we're driving. 600 miles on it. It's on a 70 plate. Obviously, with an electric car, you don't need to worry about running cars in the first few 100 miles. We don't really anyway, to be honest, these days. Glove box is on a button. Autopilot. Obviously, we can't test this because we're just driving around a town and not a motorway. But I've used autopilot before. It is brilliant. What else can I go on and on and on about? There's the heater controls. I'm going to turn my seat heater off because it's really quite warm. You just hear a little whir from the motors. It's not totally silent. You do hear a little whir. Not like the Taycan, which has got artificial sound on it, which I really loved as a petrol head, or potentially former petrol head. I did really like the artificial noise you get when accelerating in the Taycan. This you don't get that. You just hear the natural whir of a motor, which doesn't sound very interesting. What regen are we on now? Do we go back to car mode, driving? Well, still on low, but it's quite, like, it's definitely there. You still really feel it. I suppose once you got used to it, you just have it on standard. But stopping mode, this right now, as you can see, or you might be able to see, I have no foot on the brake. It's just stopped. If you had creep on, then it would creep forward like you're in a normal automatic car. When you take your foot off the brake, it creeps forward at a slow speed until you put your foot back on the brake. But in this, we're going to have to use the accelerator. Oh look, that person is on the screen. What does that do? Oh, that tells us 197 miles of range. Obviously that is the rear facing camera. Oh, there's also side cameras that you can look at. Oh, we're off. I didn't need to put it in gear, it was already on. So yeah, instead of creeping forward, you just use the accelerator to gently go forwards. What's this here? Energy consumption. That's, I mean, this is quite confusing to try and work out as you're just going along. I'm sure once you've driven the car for more than 5 minutes, or if you actually owned this car, it'd be really easy to work out. It's like any bit of technology. Once you get used to it, then you're off. The instant acceleration is good, but I must say it's not, for me as someone that regularly drives supercars, it's not mind-blowing. But if you were used to driving like what I'm driving at the moment, or a regular vehicle, then the acceleration would be quite shocking. Like it'd be surprisingly fast. Projected range, what does that mean? Average watt hours per mile, I guess that is, over the last 5 miles has been averaging 436. I don't know what that means, I'll be totally honest with you. No idea what that is all about. Charging, I've done that already. Oh, that's my seats. Core camera energy, web. Oh, okay, you just bring up an internet browser. Yeah, I like that. I'm already getting used to the regen, and it's good because you don't have to touch the brake at all. It's one pedal driving. By the way, I put the steering mode in comfort because personally I thought in standard it felt artificially heavy. I could do with some corners really to really test that. It obviously feels more weighted in standard than it does in comfort. Let's go down here just so I can get around the corner. It doesn't feel unnecessarily weighted, but it feels like it's more weighted than it would be for a car of this size normally, ever so slightly. In sport, what does that do? It firms, yeah, it firms it up even more. It's a bit like if you've ever driven an M BMW, when you can change the steering weight on that. It feels the same thing. So the higher up you go, the more artificial it feels, to be honest. You're better off in comfort. Got lost again. If you're wondering why there's pumpkins and that all over the place, it's actually Halloween today. Okay, so here's a little test, a quick turn in the road. So much like a Mercedes, the gear selector is up there on a column. Reversing camera very big, and it does the sort of sides as well. Probably going to get a load of very, very boring people saying you should have 2 hands on the wheel at all times, 10 and 2. But you know, I drive how it's comfortable to drive in a safe manner, so don't worry yourselves. navigation then. So because we're totally lost, I'm going to, and we've only got about 10 minutes left of the test drive, I'm going to stop here a second. It's safe to stop in the road here. How do you actually get rid of that car behind me now? No, I want to actually type something in. Probably doing something really obviously wrong here. Red traffic lights come up in the air. No. Oh, I see. You just pull that down, then you go to navigate. Home will take us back.
Now turn left onto North Walls.
Oh, it's only 3 minutes away. The sound system, I will just say this is the performance. So the performance in the long range cars come with the premium interior, including the premium sound system. So you get speakers up here, and a better sound. You get a subwoofer over the standard range plus model. And I've got to be honest, it's an all right sound system. People online are going, oh, the sound system's amazing, that is worth upgrading from the standard range alone. It's all right. It's okay. It sounds good, but it's not a game changer. It's not like having B&O in your car. It's on par with something like a Meridian sound system in a Range Rover, which is all right. Something like a Harman Kardon or Meridian, I would say, is about the same as.
In 500 feet, bear left onto
Okay.
Wales Street.
That told me quite late.
Now bear left onto Wales Street.
I mean, it feels like this car would be a lot of fun to get out onto a proper road. It is quick. The instant torque is fun. The regen, I'm now, after 5-10 minutes of driving it, I actually really like it.
In 500 feet, bear right onto Eastern Lane.
Is it 50 grand, this car? I don't know if it is,
Now bear right onto Eastern Lane.
It's a lovely car. It's really modern. It's really quiet. It's really fast. The build quality's good. Like, it
500
feels
feet,
good.
Your destination will be on the right.
Oh, okay. Alright, so I'll cancel that. The build quality's good, which a lot of people go, oh, the build quality's going to be rubbish compared to the German
Now your
rivals.
destination is on the right.
And I would say it's the same, really. The build quality's nice on this. It's good. The materials feel nice. This has obviously been changed now. This is it's a 70 plate, but there's just been an update, hasn't there? If you follow Tesla, then you'll know that this has changed. Down here, that's changed recently on a recent update. There's also no ghastly chrome around the windows anymore, which is nice. It's very nice, not that you would on a test drive, but it's a very nice thought to not have to bother going to a petrol station ever again in your life. If this car does 300 miles or even if it only did 200 miles to a charge, I don't do 200 miles of driving in a week, so that would mean once a week, plug it in at home overnight, the next morning you've woken up to a full charge, and then you just do that once a week. Even if you had to do that once a night, if you did do a lot of miles, that's hardly any hardship. It's much more of a pain to have to stop at a petrol station. I'm just going onto the motorway now because I just wanted to be able to give it a little bit more of a blast. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Let's go. It's quick. Am I in sport acceleration? Yeah. Problem is, now I'm lost. Actually, I'll go. Yeah, I'll go left. Yeah, it's quick, but it's not. I've driven quicker. It's not blowing my mind. Would you like to do sat nav again, please?
Now keep right to stay on Winchester bypass.
Oh, should have gone right. So, we've turned round, by the way, and we are going to try out Autopilot. So, what you do is double tap that down. Oh no. Hang on, let's put the indicator on. Double tap. No. Is Autopilot not? Maybe maybe double tap that down. Yeah, you double tap that down on the gear selector side, and it's now driving by itself. It's going quite quick. Like, I'm going to slow that speed down to a maximum of 70. It's going quicker than I would be driving on this road in these conditions. Ooh, I'm going to turn that off actually, because that skipped over some water there, ever so slightly aquaplaned, and it's a bit unsettlingly fast for these conditions. I'm not sure how much. Obviously it's just a case of getting used to a car, and as you give more trust into a cruise control system, it's just getting used to that. But that felt a little bit too quick for me on that bit of road at that particular time in those conditions. So I suppose we'll have a quick summary of the car, quick verdict. This car then was in my mind. This car's been in my mind for about a year. Of that, I'm definitely going to buy a Model 3. Definitely going to get a Model 3. It's caused plenty of discussions, let's say, at home of why I need a car that is £50,000. And the argument is, well, I want to save the planet and not have to bother putting petrol in the car, or diesel. And I honestly, and I really didn't think that this would be the verdict. Honestly, I feel a little bit underwhelmed. I know that I'm spoilt with work and get to drive cars that are 3, 4, 5 times the price of this sometimes on a regular basis, and they wow me. Sometimes they do, not always. So I guess you have to kind of get that into context. If you drove a whatever that thing is over there as a daily driver and you got into this, you'd think, wow, this is special. But it's good. This is a good car. I like it. Fourth exit. I'm in all sorts of wrong lanes here. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I would like it more if it was 30,000 and not 50,000. I think that is the price point for it. I think it's 35 grand. In fact, this is the performance one, so this is even more than 50 grand. This is 55 nudging on 60 once you've put a couple of options on which you would want. So we need to have a look in a minute as well. We'll do it off camera, whether we think that this would work for a dog and a potential family in the next couple of years. The space in the back would work for young people.
In 500
I don't know how
feet,
practical it would be to have a dog back there. Realistically, I think you would probably need a boot, which is, I had that in my head before we test drove this, thinking that
take the second exit.
probably the Model Y, when that comes out, would be a better shout. But now, I don't know. Would a Taycan, the Taycan that I drove is a Taycan Turbo, would a Taycan 4S, which is, you know, they start at 80 grand, there'll be a 4S, what do they call it, Sport Turismo, which is an estate. Would that work better? But that's going to be loads more money, so I don't know. The verdict is, I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold. I like it. It hasn't tickled my parsnips as much as I thought it might. The tech's fantastic. The drive is great. I just am a
now
bit
your destination is on the left.
unwowed. So here we are, back at Tesla. I'm going to take this camera off my head so I don't look like an absolute lunatic. See you in the next video. Goodbye.